Hello, my name is Andrea Sheely, and this week we are going to talk about occupational therapy. So the first question reads, share what you learned while completing this week's simulation. So while doing the simulation, we watched a video where Jay provided care to Phyllis. She was a new stroke, and one of the things I really learned and took away from this situation is Jay's bedside manner. He was very competent in what he was doing. He talked to her in a quiet, calming tone. He was very polite. He was a friendly face for her to see. And I think this is a very important takeaway just because a lot of times we forget that clients are sick. They're in new situations, new environments where they're not familiar with the people who are taking care of them. They're having to be provided pericare by people they don't know. And it's just a scary situation. It's scary to be sick. It's scary to be alone. Right now, COVID's going on. A lot of times they can't have visitors, or if they can't have a visitor, it's one visitor at a time. So it's just a very scary situation, and it's important for us as practitioners to keep that in mind, that the client may not be in a bad mood or grumpy. It might be anxiety that's coming out in a manner that they're really not able to control. Another thing that I took away from this assessment is just how important it is to evaluate the entire client, to look at them as a whole and to really get down to the nitty-gritty of their sensation, their strength, their range of motion. If we're just kind of going in there and half giving it a, hey, can you do this, can you do that, and not really paying attention to what the client's abilities are, we're not going to be providing them with true quality care that they deserve. So the second question reads, why is it important to understand the different community resources that are available? So a lot of times as practitioners, especially therapists, we're the ones spending big chunks of time with the client. So yes, they might see the certified nursing assistant several times throughout the day, but a lot of times they have 10, 12 patients that they're taking care of. So they're trying to get in there, get the client changed, get them dressed, get them in and out, and be out of the room so that they can move on to their next person. So as the practitioner, we build this bond with clients that not everybody else builds. So they kind of rely on us for important things like, how do I cook meals when I go home? I can't even stand for 10 minutes. So being aware as a practitioner of different community resources like things like Meals on Wheels or Agency on Aging will help our clients just improve their quality of care, improve their ability to plan for discharge. Anytime we can kind of take something off their list and make sure that they are prepared for discharge and, like we talked about, not as anxious, it's definitely going to help them, and it's going to help us be successful with them. So just making sure we're familiar with resources, and you don't have to know everything about it, but having a phone number or being able to look up the phone number and write it down for them, or giving them suggestions on, here's a few different resources that you might want to look into, is just really helpful, and it's just providing that true quality care we want to give our clients. So the next one reads, if you had to choose, which assessment component is your favorite? So, while watching this video, I really liked Jay's ability to perform the sensation. He didn't make it awkward. He was very good at being thorough, but very fast-paced about it. And I think that sensation sometimes is kind of overlooked. Not that we don't assess for it, but we're not acknowledging specifically. We are assessing your sensation so we can make sure that when we do different tasks like standing, you are able to have that tactile input and know what we're doing. If the client doesn't have that sensation, their foot could be caught up in underneath the bed, and then we go to stand and they fall, or their foot could not even be on the ground and nobody would have any idea, and we fall again. So just making sure that we are assessing for sensation, because it is a very important aspect that sometimes kind of goes overlooked. So the next question reads, if you had to choose, which assessment component you observed did you find the most challenging? I would say manual muscle testing for this. Not that I'm not familiar. I am aware of manual muscle testing. I did it in my CODA school. We have done it with Dr. G. It's just not something I perform on a very regular basis. So it's difficult for me to truly provide like a quality assessment and feel extremely comfortable. I would be able to do it. It would just take me a little bit more time than I think realistically it should. But really, I think just continuing to practice and making sure I'm aware of the movements, the gravity eliminated, and like I said, just practice, practice, practice. I know at our facilities, the OTs are the ones who perform a lot of the manual muscle testing. So they will do it on evaluation, reevaluation, updated plan of cares, and discharges. So they have that experience of performing those manual muscle tests. They are just very quick, like in and out, we got this. So that would be my most challenging assessment. And the final question reads, as you notice, PT and OT share certain assessment components. What would you do in a situation where you, the OT, obtain different results as the PT during your assessment? So I think this is okay. Like, say we go in as the OT and we evaluate our client at 7 a.m. We are doing ADLs with them. We are getting them ready for their day. The client then sits up for the entire day. They go to lunch, and then right after lunch, the PT works with them and gets different results for the assessment. As long as we're justifying in our documentation, like, hey, I saw this client at 7 o'clock in the morning. They had a full 8 hours worth of sleep. They were rested. They were ready to go. And this is why I got these results. And then the PT is justifying, well, I also saw the client and we did the same assessment. However, this client had sat up for 6 hours. They were upset because they didn't get what they wanted for lunch. They're in a new environment where they're sitting in their wheelchair and they're having to be observed because they're new to this facility. Just making sure that we're clearly documenting what's going on within the environment, time of day, the patient's attitude towards the assessment. Maybe their personality matched up really well with the OT, and maybe they didn't really get along that well with the PT. Like, there's so many different reasons why we could get different results as an assessments. But as long as we're using good clinical judgment and we are documenting to the insurance company what the reasoning was, I think it's okay to have different results to different assessments and the same assessments. Thank you. Have a good day.